We about to...
Y'all ready? Because we are ready. I think we're ready. Are we ready?
Let's cracking, gang.
Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering.
That's the best I could do. Welcome to Aquarian Anarchy, everybody. Why won't this thing click? Get off of there. Well,
tweaking, Chad is.
Yeah, sure. Jeez, man. Oh, look at that. My face is all like green screen. Hang on. Anyway, welcome to Aquarian Anarchy. Oh, I just turned the light off. That's awesome. Good job, Chad. This is live TV, folks. This is what it's all about. Y'all need Jesus. That's all I know.
Or Yoda, one of the two.
Or Yoda, or both. I think both is probably more likely. But anyway, we are here. We are live. We are ready to break this stuff down. It's just the three of us tonight. No special guests. We're gonna start doing a special guest every other week. Going forward, there may be some exceptions to that here and there, but for the most part, that's going to be the MO of Aquarian Anarchy going forward, because we want to start bringing you a little bit more insight into like Aquarian Anarchy's view of events and different topics that really play a big role in how we move forward through this world, because we are in some very interesting, some times that are wrought with a lot of negative potential, but even greater positive potential. And what we want to do is we want to point out so that we can be wary of the negative potential, but direct ourselves and our energy towards that positive potential and help you to do the same as well. So with that, you see Marcus, you see Nicco. Welcome, gentlemen. How y'all doing?
Crack a leg.
Good. It's been a busy time. But yeah.
I think all three of us have been just kind of going through it, bro. It's been rough.
Yeah, it's been what you call it? It's been an eventful lifespan between this week and uneventful at the same time. So it's like, can't complain. I'm alive. I'm here with my boys, and I'm here with the beautiful guests. What's cracking with y'all, everybody? Don't be too shy.
Right. Y'all get in the chat, start getting it popping. We're gonna going. But before we get started, I just want to say, if everybody who's watching and watches this later on the playback and everything, if y'all could, it would be really amazing if you could offer up a prayer for. I had a coworker and a good friend of mine, unfortunately, take his own life this weekend. Got the phone call this morning from another coworker to tell me, and this is somebody who I had a good relationship with. We shared a lot of time together, doing different work projects together and everything. And I don't want to get into a whole lot of details and everything, but it's a really, really sad situation. He's got a wife and a young baby that's I don't know, it's devastating. Like I'm still kind of shaking and getting over it. And so if y'all don't mind, if you can send up a prayer, it would very much be appreciated for the family, for that little baby, especially, and for his soul, like for some sort of reconciliation of whatever he was going through that put him in that predicament. Anyway, that's before I get started on my segment. What we're going to do is we're going to go through. We have each prepared something that we want to bring to our audience to give our perspective on. And before I do mine, I just wanted to drop that in, and I appreciate you guys.
Well, Chad, like we were talking about before we got on here, these kinds of things happen in just about everybody's life. And no matter how many times that we have to face just someone who either, was having a rough time, just couldn't do it, or whatever the reason might be, doesn't like minimize the pain that you're feeling, or that I know that for myself, I don't know this dude, but I feel bad for his family, and the suicide is something that everybody deals with, and you can say you don't, but I guarantee just about everybody's thought about it.
Mhm.
And if you do, seek help. See people that care, and because you might if your aim is to hurt your loved one, or your aim is to remove a burden, or whatever it is that you feel that you're going to do, there are people that are going to be hurt. For instance, if you're thinking, I'm going to get my loved one who doesn't love me anymore, but you have kids, you just hurt the kids because the loved one has already moved on. So yeah, I feel for you, brother. And, that's why we have, as much as we are for the individual, and we're for each individual guiding their own life and what have you, we're still, pack animals, if you will. We
need each other. We need community. And
Facts.
I mean, I know this is not necessarily productive, but I can't help but like wish that I had been a little more tapped in and understood what he was going through, because I might have been able to help in some way. And that's the only reason I say that, is not because I can't beat myself up about that, because he's multiple states away. The conversations that we have, infrequently as they are, were over the phone, via text, that sort of thing. So I wasn't, intimately familiar with everything that was going on. I thought he was happy. It blew me away, honestly. But the other thing is, I'm saying that not because I want to beat myself up with regret for not having been able to do something about it, but I would like to, let the people around me know that, like, if there's something, like, because I've dealt with, that sort of thing in the past. Like, I'm just so everybody knows, like, I'm not thinking of anything like that right now. I'm very, very happy, very, very driven to see the things that we have embarked on trying to change in the world come to fruition. So, by no means am I contemplating anything like that, but I can understand, and I can help to maybe draw someone back into seeing that this too shall pass, and that there's always something more amazing and completely unexpected. Because a lot of this stuff, that, like, what I went through was before I started doing the things that led me to meet you, Marcus, and you, Nicco, and everyone else that we have had on this show, and all of the people who we've met through as viewers and listeners of the show. So sometimes it's just about, like, making sure that you are keeping yourself open to connection with people, and not giving in to that seclusion and loneliness that can kind of make the world kind of close in around us. So anyway,
I would offer up my condolences. It's never really a fun experience. It doesn't matter who the fuck it is. Death isn't a fun thing, but it's a necessary thing. And actually, I know how the whole role of suicide goes. I know plenty of people who attempted to take their own lives, and I'm glad to see them for another day. It's unfortunate that, we all get to this low point, especially now. These times are interesting. These times are very interesting when it comes to mental health. So that being said, today's the 6th day. So everybody go call your mama, go call your grandmother, go hug your children, just chop it up, do something at the house, get closer to your family, because not every day is promised, and not every day is not necessarily, or, like, for example, like my grandmother downstairs, she's not suicidal, but, like, it's not going to be a chance where I possibly will see her tomorrow, So don't take any second for granted when it comes to being around your loved ones, and always push and express if there's anything that, like, anybody needs in this community, in the communities outside this community. If you have a voice that echoes, if you have insight into, like, what people are going through and they're at a very low point, always give them a hand. Just give them a hand and a little pep talk. Hey, you got this. because
Mm-hmm.
I've been there and I realized I've got way too many siblings to leave
Right.
behind, man. I
Yeah,
got way
I
too
feel
many
you.
things that I have to accomplish to leave behind. And
Mhm.
like I said, plenty of blessings and prayers out to that family. I do wish that they can heal from this
Mhm.
and prosper and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank y'all for that. And so now, since I've taken up 10 minutes of my time already,
Take your
I'm
time.
gonna move on to my what I have prepared for today.
Which I
So
think
wanted
links well to what
yeah,
you
it
just talked
does. It
about.
does. And it's
And
I just
real-
wish, like I said, I wish I had an
Right.
opportunity to share some of this stuff. What were you gonna say?
I just wanted to say
Before I pull it up.
before people start, we dive into that. I want people to know that this is going to be kind of the modus operandi. Each of us are going to bring something we want to talk about to the conversation, and so Chad is bringing his conversation about Lent and about God and those kinds of things. Nicco will be sharing his article that he looked up earlier. Nicco, what was it? Was about
It's about us not kicking out Russian kids because of this shit that's going on.
right. And on top of that, he's also going to give us some insight to the
I'm going to do a numerology breakdown for
Sure.
the week, or if not for the week,
at least for the
specific
State of the
days.
Union.
Yeah, the State of the Union. I already have it pulled up. But
and the final thing we're going to kind of break apart and destroy is is the State of the Union.
Right.
So I think this is going to be a good format for people to learn about a bunch of different topics as we move forward.
For sure.
Go ahead, Jen.
So here we go. So it's my job to because I've been going through this stuff actually since Advent started before Christmas, and now we're in the Lenten season, and so I went ahead and pulled up. This was today's gospel. So for those of you who don't know, I'm Catholic, and so like in the liturgical calendar, there's different gospels that are like kind of tied to each day, and so all over the world, every Catholic this was the gospel today. So no matter what church you went into, this was the gospel that you read. But it's like Marcus said, it does tie in very well to what we were talking about. And so this one in particular, it's Luke chapter 4, and it's just the first 13 verses, but it's about the temptation of Jesus. So Jesus is out in the desert for 40 days. And he's, by himself, very, he's unfed, everything else. He's super hungry. So anyway, I'm just going to read it because that's the best way to do it. Because the Bible does a much better job of describing it than I was just now. And Jesus, full of the Holy Spirit, returned from the Jordan and was led by the Spirit for 40 days in the wilderness, tempted by the devil. And he ate nothing in those days. And when they were ended, he was hungry. The devil said to him, "If you are the Son of God, command this stone to become bread." And Jesus answered him, "It is written, man shall not live by bread alone." So now this particular temptation, it very much reminds me of like this last couple of weeks for me, where I've been dealing with like the threat of losing a whole bunch, if not everything, and how I've kind of, I don't know, built my way and recovered my way back from that, but also all the while maintaining the perspective that like there can be a whole lot taken from us, but it still doesn't take who we are from us.
Right.
It doesn't take the things that are really, really important. And a lot of times if we have our head in the right place, it can offer a perspective. And like Marcus was saying last week, like, hey, this is, this, once you started this thing, once you launched this little campaign you started back in November, you kind of invited this stuff to happen, and it was like you started. It's in a way, it's almost like I was going through a cleansing and a spring cleaning of my house, and there's no chance that I wasn't going to find some of the stuff that I was going to find as I'm going through that. Stuff that I had stuffed in the corners, or stuff that I had hid under the bed or in the closet or anything like that. Like some of this stuff was just bound to come to light. And so I thank the perspective and the I don't know, I guess the disposition I was in for allowing me to not just think of this like God hates me and like turn away from God, and instead to like look at what it was trying to peel away so that I could focus on the things that are actually even more important than the stuff that I was afraid of. And so that's where this, man shall not live by bread alone. Like I was literally like, I was just kind of in that mode of like, that's it. That's the only thing. The only thing is like how I can boost my finances and all this other kind of stuff. And there's so much more to this stuff than that.
What'd you do to like boost your mentality, such as like, you take that crushing blow and you're like, fuck. Like, what pep talk did you give yourself?
I don't know that I really gave myself a pep talk. I think like what Marcus was saying, the pep talk was already underway before it happened. Like I literally read that morning about like the benefit of like poverty and how not having all this stuff that you rely on that you think is so much more important than your family, your relationship with God, love, friendship, companionship, all these things. Like we can find it very easy to focus on the wrong things and to be distracted by all this other BS. And we lose the thing that's right in front of us that's actually really, really important in the meantime. And so I think like, as I was going through that and I'm reading that, like when it hit me, it was almost like, oh, this is what you meant. Not like, what can I do now to like cope with this? Like I was already, the tools were, I had just opened up that tool bag. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it was already there.
Right.
And exactly what you're talking about, Chad, is why I warned when, for those that might be watching this that don't know, I have an interesting spirituality and a magical spirituality. And one of the things that I learned a very long time ago is when you start that domino off right out of the gate, in a magical working, which all spirituality leading towards God is that. When you start that domino, you're going to knock down a bunch of dominoes. There's nothing that's going to stop that happening. And if you move away from the things that you set in motion, for instance, in your case with your book, you know that there are lessons. If you move away from reading those lessons, that doesn't mean those lessons stop happening.
The dominoes just land on you.
Right.
You don't have the heads up like, hey, watch out for that one.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah,
and so that's actually why a lot of the like formulas and stuff that I pay attention to them because and one of those, and to link that to kind of what the world is going through right now, in all reality, many of these things were dominoes that were set a long time ago, and people, instead of like Jesus did, turning away from the devil, they embraced him. And what we need to do is understand that's somebody else's domino. I didn't push that shit over. That ain't nothing to do with me. And so I need to do my thing. And what you've talked about in the past, Chad, that I think is key to this particular time within your liturgical calendar is that this is the time to double down on what we believe and focus, spend time with your family, because those dominoes might affect us in ways, but they aren't what's important. We didn't do that shit. Your family needs you right now. Show them.
Right. So then the next part of it that we go into actually deals with pride. So then it says in verse 5, and the devil took him up and showed him all the kingdoms of the world in a moment of time and said to him, to you I will give all this authority and their glory, for it has been delivered to me, and I will give it to whom I will. If you then will worship me, it shall be all yours. And Jesus answered him, it is written, you shall worship the Lord your God, and him only shall you serve. So that one that's one that I've been like actually like struggling with, and because I can be very self-righteous. I can be very argumentative. If you don't believe me, ask my wife. She will tell you. She will tell you in no uncertain terms that I could be an asshole sometimes.
I get it.
So that kind of, and it was funny too, because there's this thing, and like, I don't want to like throw her under the bus because this was not very nice what she said to me. But in a way, as much as I like took offense to it, and it was not fair. It wasn't nice, and it wasn't helpful. At least I didn't think it was helpful. I think actually it may have been helpful because it did kind of put me in my place and help me to recalibrate and figure some shit out. But we were at a basketball game or something, and she asked me some dumb question because she doesn't know shit about sports, but she knows enough. Like, we've been together for 25 years. We've been together for 30 and dating. I mean, married for almost 25. Yeah, married for almost 25. I'm a huge sports nut. We have been to tons of games together and everything. She knows, like, I live and breathe this stuff. So, like, to be around me that long and to not get like, oh, this is what overtime, this is what happens when it's tied at the end of a game, this is overtime. That was what it was about. And I was like, bro, how long have we been together and you still don't know what overtime is? Something like that. And then she just turned on me. She's like, you know what? You're a phony. It's like, all that stuff that you say on your little videos and everything, like, you're like an asshole to me. And I was like, don't.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck me, man. So I, at first I was very defensive. I was very like offended and not, kind of upset by that. And I told her how unfair I thought it was and all this stuff. But, that's kind of the prideful way of dealing with that. And then in our own private time, we reflect on, I think she might have been right. Like, I kind of have been being hypocritical. Like, I'm talking about all this stuff and I'm putting this public persona that has this stuff at its core. And the thing is, like, I really am going through that, and I really believe that stuff, and I'm going through this stuff and I'm reading through it, and I'm really like, I am embracing it, and I'm trying to like dive deeper into it, and I'm also trying to share it with a larger community. But the other thing is, I still am, completely imperfect, and I routinely fail. So like, that was a major failure on my part. And I think in a way, while it might not have been the best way she could have said it, it maybe it was, because like my pride needed to have it, have its dick chopped off a little bit.
Slapped a little bit.
You know what I mean?
In the back of the head.
Yeah, exactly. So it kind of put me on my place, and it's changed me. It's helped, actually. So, but anyway, yeah. So pride is when you start thinking about it in those terms of like not worshiping yourself and your own pride and your own
ego.
your ego, but also the approval of other people.
It's just still ego.
Then right, exactly. It's ego parading as approval from other people, because what it is it's like, I want to make sure that I'm okay because I can't live with not being okay, and it really kind of flies in the face. I want to pull this thing up because this was actually like a perfect description of that, where it said, let me find it here. Yeah, it says, oh shit, where is it? Oh well, I'll have to get it
Can
later.
You paraphrase it?
No, I don't remember. I wrote it down this morning. I would have to pull it up from another spot, but I don't have that pulled up. So anyway, but it's basically like, sometimes this shit, like, your pride needs to get knocked down, because it's
For sure.
it's you putting that other stuff in the way of like you making your way towards a deeper relationship with God. And sometimes these other people who are put in your life are put there for you to not just love them for their own sake or for your own sake, but as a way to bring everyone to a closer union with God. And so anyway, that's that. So we'll move on to the next.
No. Oh, okay. I was like, hell, we're not done with this topic, buddy.
Chapter 9, verse 9 says, and he took him to Jerusalem and set him on the pinnacle of the temple and said to him, if you are the Son of God, throw yourself down from here, for it is written, he will give his angels charge of you to guard you, and on their hands they will bear you up, lest you strike your foot against a stone. And Jesus answered him, it is said, you shall not tempt the Lord your God. And when the devil had ended every temptation, he departed from him until an opportune time. So what that one represented for me was just that temptation to give other, I don't know, that doubt that we have. And that brings me back to this issue with my coworker, where it really hit me that, like, man, I would just wish I would have had an opportunity to speak to him, because when I have been in that spot where it seems like things are crashing down around me, it's really easy and it's really tempting to just be angry with God, to blame God, to lose trust, and
or even in yourself, even beyond God.
right, exactly. And so there almost comes this, like, well, if you really love me, God, then you'll make this happen, or you'll make this happen, or whatever. And it's like, yo, like, I have given you so much.
God gave the opportunity for our asses to even be here.
Right. Like, I have given you so much, and like, I can't get you to, like, not, like, stare at some, like I was talking about with Jeff Charles, like Angry Birds, like, you can't give up Angry Birds to spend a little bit more time with me. And then, like, you're so fixated on Angry Birds that your wife comes in to ask you a question, and you can't be bothered because you're too busy trying to beat that level of Angry Birds. Like, this is the kind of stuff that, like, if we really started to back out and look at ourselves with our third eye, like, actually see ourselves operating in the world, we look at ourselves and we're like, yikes, that's right. Me, because it's so easy for us to self-justify. And anyway, so that's my little breakdown. And that's what for me, what this Lent has meant is about trying to remove and deny certain things from myself. And that's where, like, so there's a lot of stuff with, especially being Catholic, where not eating between meals, not eating meat on Fridays and on Ash Wednesday, and doing these things that are like fasting related. And a lot of it comes off as this, like, just, God said it's bad, so don't do it. And These are the rules for Lent, so follow the rules for Lent and give something up and all this other kind of stuff. And it's like, no, like, the whole point is to deny yourself. And then when you face that hunger, when you actually feel that hunger, to let that remind you, like, oh, that's why I'm doing this. I'm doing this so that, because when we're so comforted, we become sedated, we become numbed to the things that we really need to be paying attention to, and that we really need to have at the heart of who we are and what we're trying to do, what we're trying to be, and what our relationships need to be. And so I have just kind of tried to, little by little, every day, do a little bit better of a job of denying those little things from myself that are actually obstacles to that, so that I can actually have that freely expressed and also freely active and participated in.
Sure. And I think that this kind of process is essential. It is part of the journey. We talked with Vin Armani about the hero's journey, and part of that journey involves, having some shit. And, there's a magical formula that's associated with that. It's called IAO formula. And with that, you have birth, life, and death. And it's also the challenges, the towers, the harsh realities of life take place in the middle there. But you can't find that. So Osiris is representative of things like the Christ consciousness and greater spirituality. You don't get there. And Isis is amazing. She's the mother. She brings you into the world. She gives you the tools that you need. But when you have to go through Apophis, you have to go through the shit to get to the salvation of Christ, and you can see this represented within the Christian church. Jesus had to go through the ordeal of going to the cross, and he didn't want to do that shit. He's like, God said, fuck this. What the hell are you talking about? You're going to put me up on a big fucking cross. Go suck it. No, let this shit pass from me. Get that shit away. Hell no.
Right. But
Jesus
he
was
finished
like,
that. He finished that statement though with, "But your will and not my will be done."
Exactly. And that's it. And that, you know, I'm not out here trying to suffer. I'm not out here trying to have bad times, but it is the mistakes that we make in life that make us the better people. That when we're doing good, we tend to just kind of skim over it.
We become better people when we realize those mistakes. Some people just stay in those loops, and that's what keeps us in a degraded, fucked up society.
And yesterday, what came from my meditation was this statement where it said, "It would be absurd to refuse a single one of those providential opportunities for suffering and to look for voluntary mortifications of our own choice." So sometimes people think like, "Oh, well, all right, so not that God, but I'll do this instead. I'll give up broccoli." Like, you don't like broccoli, so you giving up broccoli really doesn't mean anything.
You're right. That reminds me of like old pagan rituals. They were like, they're sacrificing a cow, let's say, right? And in the pagan ritual, they'll be like, and don't get me wrong, I don't have anything against pagans. I was a pagan at one time, but anyway, they'll be like, okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to cut up this cow for God. Now we're going to take the meat. God doesn't like meat. Meat's awful. He thinks the meat just tastes terrible. And he doesn't want that.
He likes the guts and the bones.
Right. Guts, bone, marrow, and all that. He loves that shit. So give that to God. We'll go on and take care of the meat for you. For you. Yeah. One of the things that that your experiences, and this is partially based on the conversation we had immediately before coming live, reminds me of my own experience in my spirituality with Damballa, who is the spirit of purity, is a white snake. Is actually the necklace that I'm wearing is dedicated to him. But Damballa is goodness. And he is truth, and he is the closest thing in voodoo, really, to that Christ consciousness. And my experience has been that he has been the one that's been like, "No, you got to conquer your demons. You got to go after this shit and face it, because if you don't face it, if you don't look at it straight in the face, then you have not conquered it. You have not beaten it. It still has power." Right? Them motherfuckers hanging on your back.
Look, I saw the Batman, no spoilers, but like,
yo, me too, just now.
Yeah. Hey, shouts out. No spoilers. I'm not spoiling it, but like the thing is that like there was one part in all Batman scenes where it's like the reason why he goes to the dark is because he wants to conquer his fears, to be I don't know what you call it, somebody who ain't no bitch. There we go. So like, even though we feel as if we conquer all of our fears, like there's always another one around the corner. There's no such thing as you being ridded of your fears. But when you continuously stride and conquer one fear, it gives you the confidence to conquer another fear. It gives you all the motivation to just keep conquering and conquering. But it also is about discipline as well. Like, are you willing to like, and that's what happens with Lent is one of the biggest things about discipline. Like, are you mentally focused on being able to give up something that makes you feel good, probably for like 45 minutes to an hour? And if not that, probably shorter. You feel me? So it's like, I personally believe that aspects of Lent should be probably incorporated into life, as in there's times and periods, and you don't got to force it amongst people, but encourage it amongst people to be like, "Hey bro, take a break from something. Like take a break, sit down and see if you have the discipline." Like ask your kids, Chad, "Hey, give me your phones for about 35 or no, give me your phone for like 2 days and just put it in the bucket."
I feel like I've been you awakened a tweet that I had loaded up for a while. I was going to do it a few days back and everything, but I couldn't put it quite together. But I just sent it out just now. It's like, discipline yourself, lest the world discipline you.
Absolutely.
Because like really, that's what it comes down to. Like you if you don't break yourself down so that you can build those muscles back up and discipline yourself to fortify yourself, somebody else is going to do it.
For sure.
And it might not be to your liking.
Oh yeah, nah. Sometimes you just get slapped into reality, and man, that shit not nice,
bro. Like my last 2 weeks been fucking. I can't. And now that's why I'm going through the process of trying to start to like discipline myself with some of that shit so that I can like be better. And it's crazy too because I blame you for all this because you told us that it was going to be some day of destruction and whatever else on the.
I didn't say shit.
All this stuff and like or building structure or something like that.
No. Oh yeah, yeah.
But now I'm trying to make it the positive side of that. I'm trying to make it the building structure and like building a little fortress around myself.
Guess
and
what, Chad?
my loved ones. So
God starts forest fires so flowers can grow.
Hey,
so,
listen, tell me
about
it.
You feel me?
Definitely.
But at the end of the day, this is all just God will take care of you. You'll be all right. Just keep moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
And that it really is the lesson that you have to learn is that yes, you can follow the patterns and you can use those patterns to lessen the things. One of the things that the Loa, the voodoo gods have told me is they don't like make shit happen. They just push. And part of that push is just, is part of what you do. And God will take care of you at the end of the fucking day, and I know the two of you have heard this story, but for our audience, I had God knows when you shouldn't be doing some shit, and he'll make sure if you put your trust in him, you're not going to be able to do whatever that stupid shit you were thinking about doing was going to be. Because God will take care of you
for sure
if you trust him. So I thought, because I had followed advice by Dumbala, I need to learn a little bit about this evil ass shit so that I know how to defend myself. That was the primary thing. So I started collecting grimoires. I had the grimoire of Armadale. I had the grimoire. I had the fucking grand grimoire. All these evil ass things were to teach you how to call the devil. And so I had all this shit, right? Well, we had a temple that was outside of our house, and I had all my books in the temple, and I have a lot of books. I mean, a lot of books. This motherfucking temple wound up having fucking termites. And they ate the evil ass books.
I remember that.
they ate the evil ass books.
All the evil books.
I mean,
Jesus
holes.
Termites.
Right. There were holes through fucking pages.
Like all that negative energy. Aren't them like evil ass termites now? Like is that how it works?
I don't know. They ate demon shit. Man,
like,
they're like, that's good shit.
Yeah. I'm thinking actually the opposite. I think that's one of those things where like they can, it's like a fire. Like it doesn't make the fire when you burn the evil shit or whatever, whether it's the hair of whatever thing that attacked you or something like that, like that doesn't, I don't think that makes the fire turn evil or whatever. I think it's
that's true.
Kind of
And the thing is, God had sent me signs that I shouldn't be fucking around with that before, but I didn't pay no attention, And
God
so
was
finally,
like,
Marcus, all right.
Marcus. Marcus.
Right. I didn't listen, so he ate my books. Now,
right.
My argument is next time say get rid of the fucking books, and I'll sell them.
Just say yeah. Well, maybe but maybe you didn't want the world to have
sure.
that many more of those circulating around. The wrong person would have found them
Scooped
or
up
something.
and started.
But one of them was badass looking, dude. I got to brag on.
Yeah, you told me about that. That was the leather bound one and everything.
No, it was snake skin bound. Not even bullshit. Cobra.
Damn.
Fucking skin and Egyptian fucking papyrus on it. Like the binding was all fucking. Oh, it's badass looking. Loved it. But I can't have.
I gotta go to a bookstore. I gotta go look for some stuff. I know there I can find some cool stuff. I just gotta you gotta go dig in a bunch of them so that
you better do it now before
look for the same little. Yeah, no shit.
They come over here like Julius Caesar or one of those motherfuckers and start burning down shit. Yeah. Well, you better.
So look, I want everybody to know we are going to get to the State of the Union shortly, but we have a few things that we gotta cover first. But what you were going to say, Marcus? Because I'm just about done. I'm ready to wrap up. I have one more thing I wanted to say, and then
sure. I was actually going to start the transition because it kind of links into what Nicco's talking about.
So I found the quote that I was talking about, and I'll just leave this here on that pride thing. The best means of conquering temptations to pride and vanity is to choose exactly what humiliates us and makes us appear little in the eyes of others. So back to that thing that I was talking about with my wife and everything, like it was almost like I kind of needed that thing. I didn't choose that necessarily. But I later on kind of embraced it because it was like, you know what, I kind of deserved that. I kind of earned that because I was being a dick. And it was in a public setting, and like I probably was showing my ass if anybody, you know, overheard the conversation that we were having, because I wasn't being
Sure.
I wasn't necessarily like being belligerent, but I wasn't being kind either. Like I was just kind of like, seriously, like how long have we been together and you still don't know this? Like what? You know, like that kind of thing. And so
yeah, you look at them like they stupid.
like,
yeah,
yeah,
I'm already
exactly,
knowing.
exactly.
I know. Look,
Yeah.
I
the
give
tone,
people,
the tone
I
of
give
voice
people
and the look.
looks.
Yeah, exactly.
Nigga, stop
So,
calling me, dog.
so I kind of needed that
Right.
to happen, and I needed to, and that's why, like you've seen it, where I'm doing this little meditation video thing every morning.
Love it.
I often admit when I have failed, because I want to make sure that I don't. I can't sit well with me putting on this public face of like what may seem like perfection, because what I'm reading is the words of saints. Okay, those aren't my words. Sometimes I put my own, you know, takes in there, but I'm reading the words of saints, and so I'm not those saints, you know. And I fail. I have I have flaws that I'm working on. I'm working on trying to improve on those. And so that was an opportunity for me to just, you know, admit failure and to pick myself up by my bootstraps and motor on to the next thing, and hopefully not fail that time. But I feel like if we look at failure through the proper light, through the proper lenses, we actually have a way of accelerating our growth.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas when we try to hide our failure and try to cover it up, we actually like stunt our growth because we aren't letting that wound heal.
For sure.
So anyway, Nicco, my man, take it away.
Hi, everybody. Do you guys know somebody who's Ushin, and they most definitely
Ruski.
got their children are suffering right now. Look, I'm not gonna lie to y'all.
Yeah.
America is attempting to do. Hold on, can I screen share? Look, I'm so sorry, everybody, if this shit act funny. Wait,
No, you can't. Yeah. So you screen share and then you hit like window.
This is too fucking okay. Window.
Yeah, window, and then you find the window you want to share.
We learn every day.
Yes,
there we go.
Oh man.
There we go. I'm not slow, but I'm slow enough.
Oh, is that Swalwell?
I don't know who the fuck these individuals are.
That's the dude who farted on camera.
So let's run it back. Don't kick Russian students out of the U.S. Like my biggest question is like, what do we gain from like kicking students out? Like, why would you be okay with it? Okay, sure, they might be informants, but like, do you follow the money? Because if you follow the money, it leads
They're in
back
college.
to
They're
us.
doing it wrong though. If the informants are in college, they're doing this shit wrong.
Doing all the way wrong. They're in debt and they can't find no good.
They're learning how to bong hit. They're not learning state secrets. They're learning how you can take 20 beers in 10 seconds.
Right.
Okay, so Putin is carrying out.
They're spending too much time with Chris Farley types.
Right.
Where you dig. And international community.
Yeah, see, it is Eric Swalwell right there, Democrat, California. There you go.
I'm not gonna lie, I need glasses. Chad, can I borrow yours? Can you just?
I got a big screen right here that I'm looking at.
But damn, I guess I will read it. Frankly, I think kicking every Russian student out of the United States said, what is it? Eric Swalwell.
Well.
Should be on the table, he said.
Should be
see,
on
I
the
thought.
table.
Wait, I thought the Democrats were all like, "Let's not do this. This is bad." Like, remember when Trump was trying to like, Trump was trying to like block the border because of the vid from
they all have
people
blue
from
MAGA
China,
hats
and
on
they were
now.
like, they were saying he was and remember he was doing the thing where he was like, all the terrorist countries allegedly, he was saying like we're not going to take anybody from flights from those places, and they had like. They're like, this guy's a xenophobe. Like, well, apparently xenophobia is back in style.
Right. It's just got a Russian flavor.
So
no vodka though.
Basically, they trying to send all these little kids back to their mama's cribs because of Putin. This is a misguided proposal.
That's why they got Swalwell, man. He was Putin.
The U.S. and people and would like.
I'm sorry, Nicco, but that was funny. Oh shit.
This is misguided proposal that will drive a wedge between the U.S. and the people who would be well served by American values. Rather than expelling Russian nationals, who are uninvolved in the sign of their government, who would be welcomed, who will be welcoming with open arms and encouraging them to engage with with our values. So, look, we can run through this, and they're just going to explain why they're kicking these little niggas out. There's a lot that they're kicking out. For what? I have no idea why. That just goes to show that our values as Americans aren't being represented by our representatives, because we know for a fact that's the kids. They got nothing to do with this, like absolutely none. But
punishing them for their parents' dumb shit at
not,
best.
Well, it's not even their parents. It's the Russian people aren't even doing this. This
is not.
Right, I know. I'm saying at best.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's like, where are we? Like, you know what, though? We most definitely did round up some Haitians. Not we, but America rounded up some Haitians at the border on some horses. And they're like, go back to where you came. And we were like, we were here. No, but the thing is that it makes no sense for us to continuously have our government shit on other people because they feel as if, oh, you're connected with this, when all actuality those kids are worried about their student debts that Biden lied on. Like, that's what they're worried about.
For sure.
So
that went out the window.
So it's like, where is it a line where people will draw it and be like, okay, this is affecting the kids now? Granted, the war was going to already affect the kids, but now this is affecting kids that are nowhere near relevant to it, who are close to it.
It might even be more American than Russian at this point.
You feel me? They don't got no kind of accent, probably. What it do, Chad?
All right. So I have an answer to your question about the kids. If the last 2 years haven't told you already that they don't give a fuck about the kids, I don't know what will, because they basically said, hey, Granny's scared of you, so shut down school, shut down all your extracurricular activities. You don't get to go to the playground. You don't get to do anything. Fuck them kids. Fuck them kids. Fuck them kids. That's what they said. So it does not surprise me at all that they are once again saying, fuck them kids.
You know what? You're absolutely right. I'm sorry, but like, look at what they put in our baby formula. Like, people can't even use baby powder no more. Like,
arsenic.
You feel me? So like, you absolutely right. You absolutely right. What's up, Marcus?
So we also don't learn a motherfucking thing.
Nope.
How'd this work in World War II when we threw Japanese people into camps? How'd this work? And this is where they're aiming at, so that these assholes know that's what they're aiming at. They're aiming at making them the enemy so that you blame all your shit, kind of like Saudi Arabia does, blaming all their shit on either us or the Jews or whoever, so that they can fucking be oppressively tyrannical to their own people. How is what Biden's doing? And after the last fucking year, how's that any goddamn different? It's not.
And how?
Because we're repeating history, you know.
Yeah.
Nobody reads their books no more. You know, we all want to be illiterate and read like me at the 3rd grade level. So it's like,
but even with the McCarthyism shit, like, you know, after Pearl Harbor and everything, right? So at least on paper, the appearance was that the Japanese were responsible for bombing Pearl Harbor, and so. At least at that point, it was like, hey, wait a second. These people attacked us. So I'm not even saying that the McCarthy, you know, like internment camps and all that stuff was justified, but it's way more justified than this. Like, these people aren't even doing anything to us. Like, what the hell does it, like, we're seriously, like, we're just going to be like, all right, now everything's blue and yellow. Blue and yellow, blue and yellow. We're down with it. Now keep all these people out of the country because of blue and yellow. Like, what?
Yeah. Now they've got their swastikas covered in yellow and blue. They're good.
I almost like legit like
crazy,
had a brain aneurysm talking to my dad and my grandmother. My grandmother had CNN on the news, and it's just been doing nothing but covering the little you dig over in a place that I don't even know geographically. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I don't know where it is specifically on this geographic map, but I will say, what the fuck does it have to do with us Americans? Like, why are we taking on the media? Why is the media portraying it and going play by play of what's happening when it's like, did they shoot at you? Do you even know what happened prior to this?
Right.
How are you going to take what's face value and then know that your government does very shisty, stupid shit? So what makes you think that their governments won't do it as well?
Right.
What makes you think that you have any more knowledge than the next individual or the media that has been lying to you blatantly? But you know, nobody really pays attention to like who's like lying or doing anything of the nature. But like, sit the fuck down and really think about this. We have invaded absolutely everywhere, and we have never covered shit about it except for what happened after that 9 and double ones.
Yeah.
That's all that I can, you know, conceive
Right.
that it's in my recollection. But what's the point? Like, the only point was to gaslight. Now that we have like everybody thinking that they're helping, and it's like, fam, all you're doing is just helping them out at the end of the day. Like, what happened to your coughs? What happened to them? Oh, you're good? Some Theraflu worked? Oh, no, it didn't. Like, everybody completely forgot what happened. And so now it's going to circulate around again, which I'm waiting on because I know people don't even fucking understand how this game works now. So
yeah, this is just the distraction of the week.
Oh, yeah.
And with these kids, they're it's the same thing as them throwing away the vodka. It's the same thing as getting pissed off at Coke because they didn't fucking shut their plant down. Shut the fuck up. You know, that's not helping. How the fuck is that anything to do with the fucking geopolitical fucking strategy of a fucking power that is trying to hold on to its money because the United States has encircled it and monopolized it? That's what's happening. How is ruining a college student's chance to influence his own people in Russia? How? Yeah, you know.
Did y'all see this today?
Wow.
This is some French people. They're like out protesting, and it's like
what?
they're all topless, but they're
it's not for attention or nothing.
They're wearing the flag on their chests.
Yeah, of course. Look at my titties. Oh, you shouldn't have looked at my titties. Why? My eyes up here, motherfucker.
Right, exactly. And then there's a dude recording it all, and he's like speaking in French. That's in Paris. They're doing that in France, and so like that's their way of like showing solidarity in France. It's like a bunch of topless chicks, and so I'm imagining the dude who's covering it. He's walking around recording it with his phone and everything, and he's speaking French the whole time and everything. And I'm imagining this dude like showing his press credentials. He's like, no, seriously. I'm a journalist. I am a journalist. I need to see this. I need to see this up close so that I can do a proper report on this. You know,
That's funny.
I can't do the voice. So I'm not even going to try. But they can be like, I am positive there were two. There were at least two that I need to. You're right. Oh, fuck. But yeah, this is just more fucking virtue signaling. So speaking of virtual signaling, are we ready to move on to the next topic?
Oh yes.
Yeah. So
all right,
Nicco, break it down.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, okay, yeah, sure. Why not?
Because the State of the Union was almost all this issue that you were just covering just now.
Right.
The first
and the ukes.
Yeah.
Well, we are in March, and March is an overall 9 month. So but the first was a water ox day that was a 1/1 energy with some yin following it. So I'm about to break this down. The number one is like, you know, the man, the masculine. You always got to start something. You're leading it. You're charging. You're
charging with your dick.
Yeah.
It's a phallic symbol, the one.
Yeah, no, you just thought. Let me stop. So that is the overall energy. Is like people were pushing shit. And they weren't going to, you know, stand aside for nobody. For it to be a water yin, it is people were basically emotionally vulnerable. What is this? But it was today. It's usually about business. People under the water yin sign or the day is about business and people being emotional about it. It's all about water. Water is emotion.
We're gonna get into the business and them twisting your emotions. So that makes sense.
The fishnet is
casting a net. Yeah, for sure.
Look. they need encouragement to thrive. So I feel like there's a lot of initiations to dampen a lot of things around. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I'm kind of ignorant to this, so this is like a free form. I apologize.
No, but that's actually good, because it's better that you aren't, because like this gives it a little bit more credibility, in my opinion, because you aren't trying to shoehorn
Make a match.
Yeah, to make it match, exactly.
Yeah, nah. And
you
then
know what was said or anything like that.
It's a water ox, so if we run to the water ox people,
Which is
real
Earth.
quick, basically, best description for a water ox person, or I guess overall, is emotional impoverishment. This is realistic in the worst circumstances, but it may cause a lot of suspicion around the day.
And if people aren't suspicious of these fools, they weren't paying any goddamn attention.
And then yin is about structure and building things. So they probably enacted something on a day.
Build Barack better.
So like, yeah, it was basically a day about starting some probably foul shit and funny shit, which y'all about to go into. But yeah, so let's see how many. Am I 3 for 3? Am I 2 for 3? Like,
in essence. For one,
this?
Before we get into it, I want to, because of understanding time, I don't know that we're actually going to be able to get every bit of this speech in here, because it was pretty long when the moron in chief gave it the first time, and we're going to be tearing it to pieces. But the ultimate like meaning that this that they were trying to convey, so that people understand, to break it down, in my understanding, is they are, one, trying to support with war propaganda and economic propaganda what they're doing with the Utes. And so that's a huge part of it. That is going to run through. The net is that you were talking about is what is next. And that is, they were trying to convince people that they were going to give them a bunch of shit. And towards the end of the speech, Biden was absolutely like making promises that he has no intention of keeping. They are not going to do any of that shit, but they're going to still get the taxes to cover it. And the final thing that really the State of the Disunion did was, it certainly solidified, if there was any doubts at all, that Biden plans on pulling this entire thing towards socialism and communism, that should be gone now. And he's gonna couple that with an all-out police state, which we'll get to. So Ben
told you.
Yeah, for sure. Kokesh Ben told us this is the same shit Adam was talking about in Freedom when he was talking about the police state and its growth. But so I want to the first section of this. Let's just say this will be close to the exact words that they said, but I'm going to read the first little bit word for word with maybe some other things. So he began, after everybody got done clapping for his magnanimous worshipfulness, and he said, "Madam Speaker, Madam Vice
they were just
President."
Clapping because he made it up there without tripping and falling or drooling.
Right. He wasn't trying to get up to
he didn't shit himself or drool on himself, so they were like, "Good job!"
Right? Yay, Timmy got on the stage.
Now I remember. Okay, yeah. No, this was with both them dusty old women behind him. Now
right.
Okay,
right. Timmy got on stage. So anyway, he said, "Madam Speaker, Madam Vice President, our First Lady and Second Gentleman, members of Congress and the Cabinet, Justice of the Supreme Court, my fellow Americans, and all of our amazing masters at the World Economic Forum in the New World Order. Last year, COVID-19 kept us apart for absolutely no reason. This year, we are finally together again tonight. We meet as Democrats, Republicans, and independents, but most importantly, as statists, with a duty to one another, to the American people, and to the Constitution, which I have and will continue to ignore. With an unwavering resolve that freedom will always triumph over tyranny, except for mine. So
spoken like a true Justin Trudeau.
Right.
Like, we will not tolerate authoritarianism except mine.
Right. Right. And so he starts off, most of this shit is just that. Is just him spouting off the same shit that they always spout off. And then he just dives in head first. And there's no point in covering a lot of this. It is just war propaganda. There is nothing more to it than we did this, we did that, Russia bad, or sorry, Ruskies bad, Utes good. That's it. That is all he said in that section.
Mm-hmm.
So all of that is just simple war propaganda. So you take that out, then you get to some of the meat. He said, and the costs and the threats to America and the world keep rising. So you're going to suffer so my elite friends and I can play a dangerous game of Risk. That's what he's saying.
Mm-hmm. And not to mention some of the costs that he's talking about. They're trying to pin like we've all been seeing this shit for a year and a half.
Right.
That like the shit has been getting increasingly more expensive because of all the money printing and everything else, all the restrictions.
$5 for fucking gas. Dog?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And it's not like it just went from $1.25 last week. And then, thanks to Russia, what is that? Oh yeah, great. Yeah, exactly. But it's not like, it was $1.25 in January and now it's $4 or $5 or whatever, right, because of what's going on over in the in Eastern Europe. No, this shit is like, this has been, we've been watching this shit go for almost 2 years now.
Right.
Out of your damn mind. The only time it wasn't that bad was when nobody was driving. The demand was like next to nothing, and I was getting gas for $1.25 a gallon.
Right.
As soon as that opened up, like it was over. Like the inflation was on its way. They printed $10 trillion,
right,
and gave you $500 or $600 or whatever for
and a pat on the back. And wear your mask. Wear your mask, kids.
Yeah, exactly.
and don't lay all this shit at Biden's feet.
No,
I broke down the fucking relief they did for the spam demic. I broke it down. They gave $30 million fucking dollars to the endowments of the arts for COVID. How the fuck does
nobody can go to a museum or an art gallery? Like what?
Right, right. Men in tutus got $30 million.
I don't know what is.
So that's all down. So to continue, he said, that's why the NATO alliance was created, to secure peace and stability in Europe after World War II. Okay, what part of this is peace and security? Okay, it was failure. So what you're saying, Mr. President, is that it failed because we are closer now than my children's entire lifetime, in theory, if you believe the news, which I don't. But we are closer to World War III right now than we have ever been since my kids were born. Now, I might have seen more in my lifetime, but not in theirs. And I have kids that are almost 30. So, how has that made us any safer?
Look, I got to be honest. Like, I feel a little bit stupid because I thought that we had gotten smart enough after Iraq and Afghanistan and all the other bullshit, all the different, like, the twisting and turning mental gymnastics that people had to do to justify all this stuff. I thought that part of why what happened the last 2 years, why it happened, was because war wasn't the grift anymore.
Right.
And lo and behold,
yep,
the idiocy of humanity
knows
no limits. Because here we are, and that's why, like, to Cassius Cam's point, I'm going to pull it up because he said this earlier, and I agree. Like, if it weren't for this community, the Aquarian Anarchy community, the Libertarian community, Hotep community, like, if it wasn't for that, I don't know. It'd be hard to find some sanity in this world because
big facts.
There's so much, man. Even people, and this is what's crazy about it, right? even people who were big time, like on the right side of history when it came to what's gone on the last 2 years, a bunch of them are like, now they're waving the flag. And I'm like,
Yeah,
bro, y'all didn't get that this is all theater and that they're playing with you.
right.
And that like
Well,
NATO is
come on,
making this little push to use the Ukraine as like a battering ram against Russia. And they're just caught in the middle of this thing.
We forgot about the most deadliest thing on this planet. You think that they're gonna pay attention to something like that?
Yeah.
Remember, it was wiping out motherfuckers.
I told you I feel stupid, bro. You don't gotta make it worse.
Look,
This
you
God's
can't
way of
even call
humbling me.
yourself that. You can't even call yourself that. You ain't fall for the old okey doke. So you know what?
No.
Give yourself a pat on the back.
I know, but I fell for the other people aren't gonna fall for it, okey doke.
But I gotta say,
Guerrilla warfare, bitch.
with the amount of voices out there, no, we are still the minority. I'm still not, we're not at maybe 10%, but isn't it 10%? It's okay. I'll take me some 10%.
Yeah, well, and this is the thing that always worried me about people falling in love with DeSantis is because I don't know where he stands. I need to look into that to see where he is on this stuff because
Magnus broke it down pretty good.
But what he represents to me is if something were to go down where like the Middle East were to get involved and that that place that has the white flag with the blue stuff on it were to be feel threatened, we'd be sending troops over there if he were in charge.
Yep.
Because he's right there with that whole like it's crazy. What they do is they create this, I don't know, this damsel in distress.
Yeah.
In this case, it's the Ukraine.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's that other place. Or it was Kuwait or whatever it is,
Right.
Create a damsel in distress and we have to go be the knight in shining armor to save the damsel in distress.
Yep.
And what you do is you turn the other people into the dragon that has to be slain.
For sure.
And as long as you make a convincing enough case that damsel in distress is in fact that damsel in distress, people will dragonize, demonize, turn to monsters a whole other group of people like they're doing now with the Russians. Yep. The Russians have become this, this evil monster now. What's up, Nick?
Also, let's not forget that this is a heavy fear-mongering tactic at this moment in time. Let's break down your immune systems some more so that we have a reason to call back the old dragon coming around.
Right. We're gonna have the Ukrainian variant.
For sure, that's what we're on, dude.
I don't like this world, bro. I don't like this
world. I'm gonna fucking that's going up.
You're stealing that one.
Yeah, I'm stealing that motherfucker from you.
The Ukrainian variant.
So yeah, it's creeping fast, and it's hitting everybody in their mouth because they just believe that they need to be invested into it. What happened to like being on like the train and like minding your own fucking business?
This is a good point by Rob. He says these communities help me feel like how the normies must feel out there in worldly environments. It's good to be amongst people of like and free minds. So yeah, I mean it's like that. Like I feel like we're like speakeasies for each other or something like that. It's like we go
sure.
Like it's that one's too easy. Shaving a haircut's too easy to guess. We have to come up with a better knock password, but you know what I mean. Like and that was kind of what Clubhouse was supposed to be. I think it was supposed to be like this place where you go and like it was a clubhouse. You went up there and you talked and you just had But then they had people start reporting each other and all this other kind of shit. Yeah. Accounts getting banned over there and everything.
Yeah,
it's not as bad. Like you can talk a lot more. You can talk a lot more greasy on Clubhouse than you can pretty much anywhere else, and still keep your account. But there are some people who have tried to get people banned.
So what? Cancel culture is not as prevalent over there, or is it?
No. Well, it's some of it's that, but some of it also is. If you choose to cultivate a community like you want to, and you make that as sequestered, I guess. You can actually, the only thing is what I don't like about that is dangerous, that you end up with these siloing effects where people end up, because they're not having their ideas tested against each other.
Facts.
You end up with people more extreme and coming up with more retarded shit in both directions.
Biden's going to get into some of this.
Yeah, to where people end up like, I've had people like who I like respect and I agree with, like we agree with each other on like some of the fuckery that's been going on and recognizing it and everything. And then I'll get something from one of them and I'm like, yo, have you like even checked to see if this is real? Because like I thought it wasn't real, and in 5 seconds I found out that it definitely isn't real. Why are you sending this to me? Like, we need to be better. Like, we're already being called misinformation agents for posting the truth. The last thing we need to do is post some bullshit as truth and then confirm their opinions about us. That's fucking retarded. Anyway,
Absolutely.
Go ahead. So continue with the wonderful state of the fracture.
Right. So he continues. Putin's latest attack on the Ukraine was premeditated and unprovoked, except for when the U.S. overthrew a democratically elected pro-Russian government and replaced it with a Western puppet, as well as the threat after they were in NATO of moving more offensive and defensive weapons onto Russian's doorstep. So other than that provocation, other than that, no provocation.
Completely unprovoked.
Completely. So he continues on in just a moment. He says, we prepared extensively and carefully by scaring the shit out of the American people and weakening everyone's individuality for 2 years. We spent months building a coalition of other freedom-loving nations from Europe and the Americas and Asia and Africa to confront Putin. How is all of that? How is all that shit that he said we've been preparing? How's that not provocation? How is that not?
Well, all right. So I'm pulling something up right now that I want to share with you guys. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this or not, because this is another piece of this puzzle. Just give it a second for it to. But how familiar are you guys with the presidential homie over there and his history?
I know that he's connected to Nazis. That's about all I've.
No. It's all right. So you remember The Apprentice? Remember that reality TV show that Trump had where he was, you're fired.
Right.
That kind of
okay.
stuff.
Yeah.
And he was already like, he was a big deal. But like, if you go back and look at it, like Trump was playing a character.
Yeah.
When he was doing that, right? Okay. So check it. Y'all ready? Here we go. This is a sitcom that was produced by none other than Mr. Zelensky. It is called, you can't read this
the loading screen.
Ukrainian. Yeah, I know. It's taking a minute. Sorry. It's called The Loading Screen. No, it is called Servant of the People. Now, you can't read this like Ukrainian shit on here, but anyway, it's basically about a school teacher who goes on a viral rant and he becomes the president because of this viral rant that goes live on video and everything. He's like, he has no history as a world leader, as a community leader, anything. He's an actor, producer, TV guy, and he turned that into, now he's president.
Right.
And now, lo and behold, surprise, surprise, he's doing photo ops pretending to be like on the front lines of, like it's all.
Yeah, get that stupid shit out of here. What sense that makes?
Pretty hilarious. Rob, you cannot make this up.
Right.
He actually got elected by making a movie about himself getting elected for being a high school teacher who like ranted and railed against corrupt government.
Right.
And so now he just became the corrupt government. First and foremost, condolences to all the people, because let's
facts.
Step back and realize that, like, when just like what I talked with Jeff Charles about, when you have a divorce and the kid gets used as a weapon against the, where the parents use the kid as a weapon against each other, that kid is still a victim.
Yeah.
Yes, the shit that's happening is bullshit, but that kid is still a victim. So yes, there's a whole lot of stuff that we don't know because there's so much propaganda. It's hard to tell truth from real at this point, right? Yeah. But what we can recognize and acknowledge and offer condolences and prayers for is all of the innocent Ukrainian and Russian people who are ending up getting caught in the crossfire because they are being used as bludgeons against each other.
Absolutely.
By these world actors who are making a power play.
For sure. And we should never forget to mention, fuck Putin. Yeah. Fuck Putin, fuck Putin, fuck Putin, fuck Putin.
I'd rather not, but I get you.
Right. Yeah. Beyond all the bullshit, I'm going to rail against the United States because they're doing fucked up shit. They're bombing shit people all over the world right now. They have supplied weapons to Saudi Arabia to blow the shit out of Yemenis children for years. So fuck the United States, but fuck Russia. Fuck that fucking statist piece of shit.
I mean, don't fuck us who live here, but yes, I know what you mean.
Like at the end of the day, it's the majority of the governments. They're all retarded. So it's like at the end of the day, yes, Russia, yeah, on some grimy shit out here. But every government is on grimy shit, and it's like you can't pick and choose if you like any of the governments because they still have some hidden history that will fuck your head up.
Right. They're still controlling people against their will. You feel me? They're still putting chains on motherfuckers.
You feel me? And it's difficult when it comes to like things with politics because it's like, who knows when you just get bribed out. Your government just gets bribed out. Even I'm gonna do my best. I present this to you, even if they came through a few things. Somebody's going to bribe their ass or somebody's going to threaten them, Sure. So, I mean, fuck these governments.
Yeah. Right. They're all liars and cheats. And to speak about that, he continued and said, we countered Russia's lies and truth. That is the entirety of that line. The entirety of that line is we countered Russia's lies and truths. I'd like some fucking detail. if there were lies and you were telling truth, I want to know what the fucking lies are. I'd kind of like to hear them.
Right.
And I'd kind of like to know your truth
to see if I actually consider it truth too.
Right.
Because I consider it truth.
Because I'm sorry, I'm gonna need some proof.
Right.
I'm gonna need you to show me where some shit's going on. That's gonna have to happen. It's shit. And so he said, and now he has acted. The free world is holding him accountable. How is Vladimir Putin being fucking held accountable?
He's still fucking whipping their ass over there. Like what's being held accountable? It's like we told him no again.
Right. Yeah. He says, okay, so he does get into this a little. He says, we are inflicting pain on Russia by taking money directly out of every American's wallet, making every shelf at the grocery store completely empty, doubling essential gas prices so the prices of all goods go up, and supporting the people of the Ukraine. Putin is now isolated from the world more than ever. And as you know, everyone who gets isolated is psychologically much better off. Get somebody alone for a very long time, good to go. Yeah. That's always good for their mental health.
Ted Bundy,
right?
Ed Gein.
Yeah, and so he continues this together with our allies. We are right now enforcing powerful economic sanctions, which will not at all harm the rich, but will starve Russian children. Starving people love us, but just look at how it worked for Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm.
We are cutting. Go ahead.
They're not letting you drink Stoli vodka anymore, though.
Right.
To protect the Ukrainian people, because I think I saw they said like 1% of the vodka in the U.S. is actually made in Russia, and the rest of it is all made here. Or there's some other places, but like a vast majority of it is made here, but only 1% of it is actually made in Russia. But they still were like, I think vodka's Russian. Like this is seriously, this is freedom fries. This is freedom fries all over again. Like they're literally like, wait a second. That sounds Russian. Like the thing, I think you said that they took Anastasia off of off the Disney Channel. Anastasia's not a Disney movie; it's a Fox movie.
It's what is it? It's a Pixar, right?
No, it's Fox. It's Fox Animation Studios.
Okay.
So that was a bit of fake news, but it wouldn't surprise me if they did that, because they have done a whole bunch of other dumb shit, like the vodka thing, and like Jabari said, taking soccer players off of video games. Like some of the stuff that they have done, where they're like, hey, we're gonna just not have those teams represented on FIFA 2022 or whatever the fuck version they're on right now. I don't remember if they're a year ahead like Madden is or how it works, but anyway, it's the black square on Instagram all over again.
You fucking right.
With war. War.
Yeah. Well, it's just the they've replaced the black square or the black fist with the blue and yellow flag. Right. So that's the new virtue signal.
I think they're doing a really good job, and I hate that I'm saying this, but these niggas' programming systems are off the chain. Look, there's plenty of people that are just so stuck, and they just like, let's go. Like, bro, what? Do y'all not like ever think for yourselves? Like, the only time you think
or read
is like, do I put the toilet paper over or under? Like, fam. Like,
the important thing is they have 75 cases of toilet paper because they got duped with that one too.
Right.
I'm extremely disappointed in us Americans. We went for toilet paper. Toilet paper, fam. Like, no, we didn't even like attempt to raid police stations for their like evidence lockers or guns or nothing like that. We just said
go raid the rape kits and actually solve some rapes while you're at it.
No, that you can't do actual.
Let's get these and see if we can actually find some.
Are we finna like TP people's cribs? Like, we finna throw some straight daggers and bombs at people and like try and knock them out with toilet paper? Like, fam,
did they do that, Dutch? They seriously stripped Putin of his black belt?
Yes, they did. I saw that.
Did they seriously do that?
Yeah, at least I don't know anymore, because I don't trust any of the fucking news, because I can't believe nothing. But yeah, I saw a report where they did that shit.
How can you strip me of a black belt? I'll still whoop your ass on a black belt level. Come on, try me.
I'm stripped. I don't need a belt. I don't need no clothes either.
He's going in for 6 Sigma training tomorrow so he can get his black belt back.
Okay.
If you know, you know. But if you don't, it's okay.
So a little later on, he continues on. He says, tonight I say to the Russian oligarchs and corrupt leaders who have built millions of dollars off the violent regime, no more. That's our grift. Back the fuck off of our shit. That we are supposed to be getting our oligarchs that shit. You can't be giving your oligarchs that shit. The U.S. Department of Justice is assembling a dedicated task force to go after the crimes of the Russian oligarchs. We are joining with our European allies to find and seize our yachts, your luxury apartments, or your private jets. We are coming for your ill-begotten gains. And next week, we'll come after the rest of y'all's. Because if you think for a fucking minute that if they can go after a Russian oligarch and get his shit, they can't get your $25 out of your goddamn savings account, you are wrong. They will come after you next.
It's just taking their sweet time to come after you now.
Right.
All you doing is just paying attention to like, what you never do, children, is watch the bottle in a bar fight. Everybody's got their mouth open, their trachea is out, and like, oh wow, that's really high up, just to get punched in their throats. Like,
or have a broken bottle, smash it,
man. Yeah. And so it's like,
So this idiot continues. He says, and tonight I am announcing that we will join our allies in closing off American airspace to all Russian flights, further isolating Russia and adding an additional squeeze on their economy. The ruble has lost 30% of its value. And after Putin violates this and we do nothing, we will look so strong to the other 6 families. I mean, to the other 7 G7 members.
Yeah. Listen, they called Trump a xenophobe. It's the deadliest virus in the history of viruses. They called him a xenophobe because he wanted to like block travel to and from China.
Right.
but like we're gonna say like, hey, I know you ain't got shit to do with this. You aren't carrying the deadliest virus since viruses started, but we want to show Putin, so you can't fly.
Right. Yeah. And they're not, and Putin's gonna spit on them. Putin, I'm sorry, this dude is gonna be like, go fuck your flies on. What you gonna do now? What you gonna do now? And they're not gonna do anything because they know if they go too far, he'll be like, I like that red button. I like that red button. Because he doesn't give a fuck.
Mm-hmm.
And
no,
neither
I have a rebuttal
measuring
on that.
contest with fucking John Holmes, man.
Like I understand that like everybody, it's like the cowboy situation that I always go back to, where it's like if everybody in this bitch had guns, we're good. The people who are aiming nukes at my boy Russia, I mean, I don't think they're stupid enough to be like, all right, let's just blow this whole bitch up.
Mm-hmm.
What will you gain from it? Except for not just millions and millions of lives lost. So say goodbye to your little battery system, because guess what? We produced that shit. You guys would have to like start everything up from the ground up. Things would be radically altered. I honestly don't think. I think it's just the bluff. I honestly think that shit is always a bluff, because it's like, there goes that fear-mongering campaign. Oh shit, these niggas got a red button that could blow up half the world. Like, think about this stuff.
Yeah, they did the same thing in 08. Yeah, they did the same thing in 08 when the gas prices started going up and everything. They stirred up some more shit so that it could go the other way, and they could have something to blame that shit on. And it was it was in the middle of an economic collapse with a banking collapse and everything, but it didn't stop us from making it seemingly about some other shit, war and whatnot. And then you had the Arab Spring, it's the same as this stuff, where like Hotep Jesus said it best when he said, what happens is we go in and we install a puppet government. Then like there's some weird shit that happens that we back the rebels, who in this case are Nazis. Then after they take over and we install a new puppet government, then we wait a few years, then we go back in and we're like, hey, there's Nazis that took over. We gotta do something about this.
Yep.
And just rinse, repeat.
Same thing that did in Afghanistan.
Exactly. Go ahead, Nicco. You were still, or were you still? I don't know if you're still.
I think I ran out of steam on complaining about these stupid ass Americans.
For sure.
No doubt.
So I got to point this out because this was funny. So he was just saying how we're going to confront Putin, right? 5. I counted it. 5 lines later. 5 lines. They're going
to take Beano.
No.
Anyway, that was another fart joke.
Right.
Sorry.
Right. But 5 lines later, let me be clear, because I just said I was going to stand up to Russia. Right. Let me be clear. Our forces are not engaged and will not engage in conflict with Russian forces in the Ukraine. In other words, we just said a bunch of shit. Well, we ain't gonna do that. we ain't doing a goddamn thing. None of that. We're not gonna do that.
We need an excuse for the oil price to be as high as it is.
Correct.
Thanks.
That's all it is.
Yeah, and I think my personal opinion. And to be clear, this is not based on any facts. This is my personal opinion. I think that the NWO and Russia and China have gotten together and decided that they're going to divvy some shit up. And they said, "Hey, Putin, I need you to do this, and we're going to pretend to do this, and you're going to get to Ukraine. It's going to be all right. But we need to get our shit handled." And then we'll start buying more oil. How about that, buddy? Will you do that for us? And he said, sure enough.
Yeah. And Biden announced that we're going to be releasing, strategic oil reserves to the tune of like, how it was like 60 million barrels or something like that.
Yeah, he gets to that.
And I'm just like, well, that's just because it's like over $110 a barrel right now. They want to cash in on that money.
Yeah. Well, that's part of it. And what they're also doing is that's a drop in the goddamn bucket.
Yeah. Oh no, it's not gonna have any real impact. But what it does is it serves as like a lip service to the problem that people are experiencing day to day.
Right.
And it also allows them, so like you don't release those strategic reserves when the price is $25 a barrel.
Right.
No, you hold that shit out until like it's like $120 a barrel, and then you're like, hey, look, you can make fucking bank on this shit. So,
absolutely.
You know,
Yeah,
when
absolutely
exploration starts kicking up again and everything, we'll start to see some of this stuff taper off, because they shuttered a lot of, they capped a lot of wells in 2020 when Brent crude was, they were paying you to take it. They were paying $37 a barrel for you to take it off their hands. Like, it was only for about an afternoon, but still, I was calling up our people. I was like, "Hey, how many tanks do we have?
Right, we got to get some shit.
What kind of remediation are we gonna have to go through to clean the oil shit out of it? And we can hang on to this. We just need to hang on to it for a little while, because we can. You make like, I don't know, $400,000 on the front end, and then when you sell it, you make more money on the back end, because you're not you receive it, they pay you to receive it, then you sell it, they pay you to take it back from them,
right?
Or for them to take it back from you. You know what I mean?
But but then they'd hit you with some kind of stupid law.
No, it's definitely something that was only set up for people who were already prepared to deal with it and have all their little ducks in a row. Because all those regulations and everything, they are set up under the guise of, this is to protect everybody and to make things fair, and they're written by people who either still do or used to work for Exxon, Chevron, whatever, all the Standard Oil monopoly breakup that is still a monopoly. It's just got a bunch of different names. It's literally like if they broke up Walmart and gave it to all the Walmart kids. It's like, well, still, all the Walton kids, well, it's still the same fucking people. Like, what difference does it make? Like, you just said, each person on the board gets their own segment of Walmart. Ooh, okay, yeah. I'm sure they're gonna vastly diverge from each other so that they can't consolidate their power and strong arm everybody. Like, get the fuck out of here. Have you ever heard of somebody trying to get something listed or something put on the shelf at Walmart? Like, they basically make it to where you have to, if you have something that it costs you 50 cents to make, the most you can sell it for is like 51 cents.
That's dumb.
Otherwise, they're like, you don't want your stuff at Walmart. And some of these people, like, the only way that they can really get their name out there and like have people buy it in other places is to get it on the shelf at Walmart. And then people go try to find it in other places. But Levi's had a problem with that. They made a set of jeans strictly for Walmart that was so cheap that people were like, why would I pay extra for Levi's somewhere else when all I'm doing is paying for the brand name and I can get them at Walmart for $20?
Facts.
So,
hey, people don't know how they finesse this money.
Oh no, for sure. It's been going on for centuries, honestly. Like, it's just, you got to open your eyes and see it, and not just think that it just started happening 30 years ago or some shit.
All government is criminals monopolizing a market. That is all it is. That is all government is. Criminals monopolizing, because you and I don't need to monopolize. We'll come up with an idea, put out a product, people will buy it. They need to monopolize it because they can't do shit. They're the no abilities. They don't know how to
we're
do
the
anything.
batteries. I told you, we're the batteries. Why would they throw out perfectly working batteries, aka with the big red button? Because they
it's the whole thing about intellectual property. Like, intellectual property law is meant to make it to where you can have one idea one time and patent it and live off of it forever. Right. And make it to where nobody else can do it. And what it does is it stifles innovation. Whereas if that stuff were unlocked and you didn't have the guns of government protecting how something is built, then you come up with something, Nicco, and then I'm like, I mean, I see what you did there, and that's really cool. But like, if you do this little tweak to it, it actually makes it 50% more efficient, and it's stronger, sturdier, whatever. Just whatever, some little mechanical device. Mm-hmm. Well, you with intellectual property law can say you're not even allowed to say that. You can't even the only way you can say that is if you come to me, tell me that, and I get to make that my next thing that I make, and I patent that too. Yes, that's the way this shit is, and that's why we're stuck with so many of these things that haven't really evolved or innovated in several decades. Right. Cars, for instance, and other shit. Anyway,
and that's where they're aiming. So from here, he just goes into a bunch of fucking war propaganda again. I'm not going to share that. It's just war propaganda. Mm-hmm. All he is saying in all of these sections where he says war propaganda is. The youths are good. The Ruskies are bad. That is all he says. So, so he does a whole nother section of that. And then he says, To all Americans, I will be honest with you, as I've always promised. I'm going to reread that. To all Americans, I will be honest with you, as I've always promised, because I totally have not lied since the pandemic began, or when I was trying to force the jab in your arm. A Russian dictator invading a foreign country has costs around the world that I routinely ignore. They ignore our invasions.
Right. I got you.
When these morons, they invaded one country. How many countries has the United States done in my lifetime? So this is all nonsense. And he said our invasions are likely, and this is me, our invasions are like when the circus comes to town. The bomb children smile as we walk in and put our boot on their throats. And he continues and says that I'm taking robust action to make sure the pain of our sanctions is targeted at Russia's economy. And I will use every tool at our disposal to protect American businesses and consumers. My primary tools will be propaganda and lies. So, at the end of the fucking day,
why? It's like the opposite of the Spanish Inquisition.
Right. Why do anybody believe these motherfuckers?
Yeah. I don't know.
So he continues with more war propaganda, and
it was like an hour of that speech was all like war shit.
Right. Over and over. Same shit too.
Everybody sat the fuck down and ate it up, right?
A lot of people.
Not
did.
everybody.
Not everybody, but I'll say this though: there are a lot of people who may not have eaten up the propaganda, but what they did was they just countered with their own propaganda.
For sure.
Because there's some other propaganda, and that's the thing is like you create this like Hegelian dialectic where there's one thing that's not true, and then the alternative is another thing that's not true. But either way, if you fall for either one, you're falling for a lie that is steering you towards whatever direction they're trying to steer you in. Like imagine if you had like two con men come up to you on the street. Okay, you're trying to get to, I don't know, a dentist appointment. Okay.
This sounds like a spicy movie.
Yeah, one con man tells you like, "Hey, there's an emergency at your house. Whatever. So and so told me to call you, and like, you need to go home immediately." Or the other one says, "Hey, man, I really need you to help me. My wife is pregnant over here, and she needs somebody to help bring us somewhere or whatever." But they're both conning you.
Mm-hmm.
Neither one of them is helping you get to the dentist on time.
Right.
And they're probably stealing some shit from you when it's all said and done. So what they might come up to you and do on the corner is tell you that each other is a con man and not to believe the other one and try to convince you that they're telling you the truth. Right. But the reality of the matter is they're both bullshitting you, and they're both pleading to either your charitable nature or to your own self-preservation. And so what they end up doing is they end up sending you off on some wild goose chase that is, you think you're serving one of those two interests, and actually what you're doing is you're getting off your game. And the dentist appointment is probably a terrible analogy because it should be something much more important to and vital to your survival as a human being. But that was the closest thing I could come up with. So.
But yeah, and what I find funny about this whole speech is this is set on directly on Edward Bernays' playbook. Mm-hmm. This is absolutely introduced. For those that don't know, Edward Bernays was the person who like mastered the art of modern propaganda, and he influenced Hitler.
Goebbels, yeah, big time. Yep.
And his formula was simple. And that was you offer this abysmal thing out front, and then you direct people towards this. There may be 20 solutions, but you aim them at your solution. And so that's what this entire thing was done. And at this point, now that he has laid out all of this war propaganda, that's what he's about to do. Is he's about to shift to how do we solve this, which in essence, to kind of skip ahead, is going to be communism.
Yeah, it's taking the Overton window and kicking it 3 notches down.
Correct.
So that now, like, the only available options are between here and here.
Correct. And
you have to accept one of them, and we'll just try to paint the one that seems the least objectionable.
Yeah, and I definitely And to Scott's question, we're
State of the
talking
Union.
about the State of the Union, and but ultimately, what he is doing is kicking that over to window so that you don't pay attention to the bullshit they've been doing for years. He says, we meet tonight in an America that has lived through two of the hardest years the nation has ever faced for nothing. What did we get? Who didn't get the Bumblebee variant? I mean, 99% of the fucking people got that shit. I mean, I'm obviously not just, that's not the accurate. Don't hold me to that number.
You're spreading misinformation.
I know. But he went on to say the pandemic, I mean, the federal government has been punishing. And so many families are living paycheck to paycheck, struggling to keep up with the rising cost of food, gas, housing, and so much more. I understand. And I don't care. Here, let me make things worse. Meaningless. He then goes into a meaningless personal story designed to make him look like one of us, so that he steals millions of dollars from your pocket to pay for this war. And Nancy Pelosi was hilarious the next day. Oh, we still need the money for COVID.
Bro, what was the worst though was when he was talking about some soldiers getting like gassed or something like that, and she stood up and just kind of went.
I know.
Like that. Everything is like, I think you stood up at the wrong moment, lady. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Oh my God, it was so bad.
She was hilarious. I want the meds. They had Nancy Pelosi.
Bro, she's a piece of work. But it was funny too, though. Like, there were a lot of people who didn't know that Biden, like his wife died, like way back when. Not Jill, but his previous wife, and that he actually was. He was a single dad for a while and everything. But it's just. I don't know, man. Like these days, I'm having a really hard time not just wondering like how much of this shit is just like props and like
a lot of it
stories that are just all right. So here's the deal. Here's what we're gonna do. You were a widower, and you had to ride the subway into DC from Delaware every week, and you just were like. The yeoman's life, you know, your dad was a I don't know, longshoreman or some like his dad was in a union like a teamster or some shit where he was doing some factory job and all this. Like it's all this like right out of the book of like the American dream of everything. Well, maybe not even rags to riches, but just like I'm just a regular old guy. Like I'm not necessarily we weren't poor, but we were middle class, working class. You know, we're just like you guys. You know, all that kind of bullshit where it's very, very believable. People, a certain element of the population will just gobble it up because it sounds, you know, it tugs at your heartstrings and everything. And I'm not trying to say like, I guarantee you that none of this shit actually really happened to him or anything like that. I just think that a lot of this stuff probably gets used and twisted and exploited
for sure. It's PR
as a way to as a PR mechanism to make them more electable, because if the dude had to live on his record, there's no way he would have been in the Senate as long as he was.
Right. For sure. And to catch everybody else up where we're at, he has laid out the evil Ruskies who are all this shit, everything he talked about, the financial shit, that didn't have nothing to do. Nothing to do with all this other fuckery. Nothing to do with that. It was all their fault. The reason that gas prices have been going up for 6 months is because we were psychic and we knew the Russians were going to invade.
We knew the Russians were going to invade, so we started raising gas prices preemptively.
Right,
for sure. Preemptive strike.
So now what he's doing is he's shifting and he is beginning to say, that's not my fault. And we're going to fix it. That's not my fault. And we're going to fix it with we're just going to magically wave the socialist wand and presto, this is solved. This is solved because we'll just pay for it. There is no money in Washington, D.C. None. Not a penny. Not one.
In United States.
Period. Right. Not one. None. There ain't none. There's no money. We owe more than we make. There ain't no money. So...
No, it's
they can't wave magic wand.
What's the U.S. dollar backed by? And it ain't gold anymore.
Nope.
It is bullets.
Right.
Bullets and bombs. That's it.
Right. And Putin just said, you can't use your bombs because I'll blow the whole fucking place up. I mean, what are they gonna do? So he continues on. He starts talking about creating jobs. I had to highlight this. He said it creates jobs, lots of jobs. He's talking about socialism and how we're going to make good jobs and all that. And he says we're going to create jobs and lots of jobs because he's bragging that the fucking unemployment's gone down. Well, the unemployment rates are because motherfuckers can't get the shit no more. It's been 2 fucking years of people sitting on unemployment. They can't get it. Of course, they're getting a job. People don't like to start.
or they're not looking. Like that's the other thing too, is that some of this stuff is people stop looking for work, because they're handing out money. And I saw something where somewhere, maybe in Canada, somewhere they're pushing a new UBI thing through. And I mean that's the thing. I want to say that on Scott's thing, like I get it, like that there's this perception that like that oil, the petrodollar, that like, and I agree to a certain degree that as long as it's still represented in US dollars on the world market. Yes. But the reason why is because of those bullets and bombs, not because we have all the oil or anything like that. Like if it were about oil, then we'd be fucking Russia. Trading Saudi fucking, what is it? I can't remember what their fucking currency is, but you know what I'm saying? Like we would not be training. Yeah. It would be Russian, Saudi, and we would have some, but it's all about the fact that we can blow people up and steal their oil. So anyway.
For sure. Yeah, you're right. And so he goes on, he says, Vice President Harris and I ran for office with a new economic vision for America. In my mind, he looked back at Vice President Harris and said,
no, you were right when you said president. You had it right when you said President
You're right,
Harris.
Yeah. So he looks back at President Harris and he says, so Marx is still new, right? Because that's everything he's about to talk about, straight out like Communist Manifesto. This motherfucker is about to lay out.
But did you see
flat out?
Did you see when he said the Iranian people?
Yes, that was fucking hilarious.
And then did you see Kamala behind him go like that? Like she mouthed Ukrainian, like, you stupid motherfucker, it's Ukrainian. It was hilarious. I got
Grandpa's off the reservation again.
Yes, exactly.
I'm surprised he kept it together that long. Like,
yeah, I gotta give him props for that.
He most definitely had to boost up with some like horse adrenaline or some shit like that. Like, you feel me?
Oh yeah, his Adderall started wearing off at the end. You could tell he started like slurring words, like I'm doing. Apparently, I have an Adderall problem too. No, but his drugs were definitely wearing off. He started trailing off at the end and like just mumbling to himself and shit. All right, continue, Marcus.
So he then continues. He said, "This is the next line because we're getting new economic shit, right?" So he says, "Invest in America, educate Americans, grow the workforce, build the economy from the bottom up." This is when he starts shifting. He puts on his blue MAGA hat and says, "No, Kamala, I don't want my MAGA hat now. Put that shit away." How is this any different than America First?
He's like, build the wall. He's like, we're gonna lock our border down, and we're gonna do this. I was like, okay, all right. And then, sure enough, just as we told you, he's gonna start locking people up again.
Right?
Oh yeah. Oh, you niggas done fucked up with them PPP loans. I'm not gonna lie. Look, y'all shouldn't have went on the vacations. Y'all should have used it for legitimate business because all the small businesses went down. So it's like, why not invest? But you know what? We're gonna invest in 5 days of fun. And maybe a Challenger that I'm complaining about because the gas is too damn high right now. Right. Or I bought me this house and I got no groceries because the food markets is running low. But them PPP loans.
Yeah,
bro. We had a house in this brand new neighborhood a while back, and we had some neighbors that like I don't know how they could afford the house because I went over to visit them one day. I was helping them put up their TV, so they had a TV. We were hanging the TV on the wall. I was helping them do that. They didn't have a sofa. They didn't have a bed.
Wow.
Like you got this house and you got like, shouldn't you be in an apartment?
Priorities,
like, with some furniture.
Priorities.
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 Yeah, that's right.
For sure. So he continues. He says, is going to transform America. How many times are they going to transform this motherfucker?
Bro.
They're like in a kid with a new transformer.
Wasn't that Obama's thing when he first took off the what was it? It was the fundamental transformation of the United States of America.
Still doing that shit.
That was some scary ass shit. Look, I got it. Before you move on, I gotta show the people this. All right, so real quick, here we go. If y'all ready, just watch her mouth.
Yeah, totally. She's like, fucking Ukraine, you goddamn moron.
I wonder how much she was sweating under that, like after she said it.
Bro, you can see like her lip, she almost grew a sweat mustache just in that one little clip.
I know. It was so funny. Watching her watch her political aspirations that are already gone. Fucking
She's like, I can't believe this motherfucker won. How did he win?
Right.
I even tried to call him racist.
Right. And meanwhile, fucking Nancy's back there like, hey, baby.
She was licking. Boy, she has that margarita flavored Fix-A-Dent. She was licking the shit out of that stuff, bro. She was like, margarita.
I know, it's the funniest shit ever.
Oh my god.
He starts talking about. He says, it is going to transform America and put us on a path to win the economic competition of the 21st century that we face with the rest of the world, particularly with China, by becoming China and selling the rest of the country to China. So that's the plan.
Bro, Marcus, you hitting it on the head, man. Your translations are epic. Oh, shit. I love it.
So basically, that's what they're doing. Again, this is all, he and we're getting close to time to where I need to start wrapping up. But so basically, he goes on that probably one of the things that was most important at this point is he gets to the police and, lots and lots and lots of Democrats wanted the defund the police stuff to go through. And he said, no, don't defund the police. Fund them. Fund them.
We need to fund the police. We need to fund them harder.
Right.
Fund me harder, daddy.
Right. He's like, give me 3 boots to lick, motherfuckers.
Oh, God.
This dude just totally, I don't get how, because we're not talking about these are not the people that are in government. The people that vote for these assholes are most of them well-meaning people who believe that socialism might work. That at the end of the day, I believe that that's true. But they wanted defunding the police. How do they stomach that? How do they go, wait, whoa. I mean, if it were me, like for instance, I like Spike Cohen a lot. And he talks about freedom a lot. If he suddenly was like, all right, guys, I know that I said that we don't need any more taxes. I think the taxes are theft.
We need to raise taxes.
But we need more taxes. I'd be like, hold up. Whoa. We got some problems, Spike. How?
Hold up. Wait a minute. Let me put my foot in it. Damn.
Right.
Somebody needs to have their ass whipped.
So the number again, and I'm gonna just go ahead and.
But people will vote for him again anyway.
Yeah.
It don't even matter. Like that's the crazy part is that they'll find a way. The media will find a way to make whoever he's running against look like he's so much worse that they will
vote for him again.
Like that old line from Gladiator where Senator. Oh shit! I can't. Gricus, maybe I don't remember. It's one of them where he says he will give them death and they will love him for it.
Yeah. That's sad, but it's true. At the end of the day, this was he at one point absolutely said this sacred place. They wrap this shit in pure status fashion. This is all about how do we get ourselves more power and pretend like we're going to help you, which is what the state always does. What I personally found the most shocking from this was not in the messaging. This is the same shit they've been talking about for all the time I can remember. But what shocked me is that they put it all right there. It's all right. How can you not look at what he's proposing and not see that this is Marxism?
Yeah.
This is war propaganda.
Mhm.
This is fear mongering. This is, all of this is designed to put you back in a yoke. It is designed to enslave you. Every bit of it. There isn't anything in this speech that was not designed to put you under the thumb of the people that I mentioned earlier, the World Economic Forum and the NWO.
Yeah, for sure. And did y'all ever see that movie? It was, I don't know if it was anywhere else, but it was on Netflix. It's called I Care a Lot. It's like Rosamund Pike and what's the dude? Tyrion Lannister. Anyway, that dude. I can't remember his name.
Game of Thrones. Which dude?
Something Ridge. I can't remember his name. Anyway, yeah, the Tyrion Lannister.
Peter Dinklage or
Dinklage.
Yeah,
That's it.
Yeah.
Peter Dinklage.
I like that dude.
Yeah. So Peter Dinklage, Rosamund Pike, and it's not Annette Bening. What's that chick's name? Anyway, some older lady. It's this chick. Rosamund Pike's character plays this. She's like a custodian of like elderly people. What she does is she goes and convinces a judge that they aren't capable of thinking and making decisions for themselves anymore. So she gets this judge to grant her custody of their estate, goes in and has them put into this nursing home.
Yeah.
And then the nursing home like cuts them off from their family, says that their family is being disruptive and all this other kind of stuff. Yeah. And they just like, it's just a cash cow money thing. The movie is like a sort of like a suspenseful comedy of sorts. But anyway, it makes me think of that, like what you were talking about. Like there's this way of, it starts with convincing people that like, you're there to help. Oh, I care a lot, and I care about these elderly people and I want to make sure that they're taken care of in their last years. And then it moves into, and that's how I get all of your stuff and make it mine. And then you will live in the worst conditions possible because we're funneling all the resources to me and my friends, and you aren't the owner of your money. You're not the custodian of and the steward of your estate anymore. We are.
For sure. Right.
So we will decide what you eat, how many times we clean your bed sheets because the detergent costs too much or whatever the fuck it is, shit like that. So that's kind of what this reminds me of, is that's the game. The game is it's all a con. It convince you to give up certain levels of your own sovereignty.
Yep.
So that you can feel a little safer. And all it does is, and it's a great con if you think about it, because at every step along the way, you are made to feel like they are the path to greater safety and security and prosperity. And at every step along the way, you get less safe, less secure, and less prosperous.
Yep.
And then they always have the answer for how to make it better. And it always makes it worse. And so it's this perpetuating loop that is always going to benefit them, is never going to benefit you, and you can't seem to find a way to get out of it because they're so damn convincing. They're brilliant con artists.
Actually, it's called Congress for a reason.
Yo!
Yeah.
You feel me? It's words are
other than being a group of baboons.
Right? But like every time we speak, we
taken.
just invoke nothing but their devious ways. You feel me?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's they're con men and aggressors. Congress.
Yeah. Politics, many ticks, many things that are just sucking the people dry. Homo pause.
Man.
Well, and they also
Nicco
call sex
that
Congress.
hotep knowledge on us.
You feel me?
For sure. But they also called sex Congress. They knew they were fucking us when they got that Constitution in.
Oh shoot, man.
So,
all right.
I think this is a good place to wrap it up. This has been fun. I look forward to doing more of this in the future because I think that it is wonderful that we have had so many really good guests and good ideas and solutions that people have put out. But I also think that the three of us have some pretty good goddamn ideas, and we pay attention to stuff and we think about things. The number one thing that I want people to move away from is that these people are not trying to help you. These people are trying to control you. Now they need you alive, so they're going to keep you alive.
Right.
like to Nicco's point from earlier,
Mhm.
they're going to keep you alive. It is on you. This whole shebang is in your mind. It is on you to be free.
Right.
Nobody can give you freedom. You must acquire it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And it starts right here. And
Yep.
it starts the moment you say no.
Yep. Yeah. So I want to throw this up here real quick before we jump out. This is from Just a Chick. It says, thank you, gentlemen. Left 5th grade social studies class, not trusting government. Graduated high school in 99, libertarian. 2020, anarchist. Well, let's go.
That's right.
Let's go.
That's right. So
I love it.
thank you guys. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you enjoy the content that's coming. We are just to kind of put a couple plugs in here. Both Chad and Nicco will likely have some projects coming to Aquarian Anarchy soon. Starting this week, my Forgotten Freedom Fighter series will hit the airwaves on Wednesday. And yeah,
Great shit.
yeah.
Can't wait. It's gonna be
And
fun.
these are old videos, but they're full of lots and lots of fucking information.
Mhm.
Marcus,
And-
books are old, fam. Doesn't even matter.
That's right.
That's what I
You're
wrote
old,
videos.
Marcus.
Wait, I ain't even
know.
say that.
This is a way for
Hey,
you to get
hey,
younger.
keep that-
You'll be
keep that-
younger in those videos.
Oh, okay.
I know. It will. I rewinded time like a whole 3 years.
Right. What
But
were you saying, Nicco?
Oh no! I thought you were trying to put words in my mouth, talking shit on Marcus, and I'm
No,
like,
no,
yo,
no.
whoa, no, keep that to yourself. Like he said this, Marcus, not me.
Oh, yeah, I got you.
Right on. But nah, I love these dudes below me, and I got to give a shout out to my friend Scott. Saw him yesterday and had a nice conversation with him. I don't want him to be a libertarian. I want him right where the fuck he is, because I think that if he can run for office and win and be
Yeah,
that brings
need
some
some of that
good
energy.
times.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. So anyway, everybody, just love your family. You ready,
Mhm.
Chad?
Yeah,
Stay
y'all
free.
do it. Peace.
Yeah.